Okay, fine. I have shared the screen and now I am starting the SAP. My SAP screen is visible to all of you?
Yes, sir.
Okay, fine. So in the last class I have extensively discussed what is subsidiary ledger, what is reconciliation ledger or general ledger, what is the link between subsidiary ledger and reconciliation ledger or general ledger. Actually general ledger is a very generic term. We are well acquainted with the generic term general ledger, but general ledger is somehow called here, in this case it is called as reconciliation ledger. Why it is called? It is a global term, it is typical to the SAP is concerned. And why it is called reconciliation ledger? Because in the general ledger, like in accounts payable, there is a general ledger, there will be a general ledger called sundry creditors. Okay, sundry creditors. So sundry creditors is the reconciliation ledger of individual creditors. So all the individual creditors, when the total will be summed off, then it will be reflected in general ledger account, that is sundry creditor. And individual ledger accounts, individual party accounts or individual vendor accounts, they are really subsidiary ledger, or we can call it sub ledger, right? So business as a whole or company code as a whole, definitely we should know what is the total amount of vendors, total amount of vendors or total amount of credit purchase on a particular date, and it will be reflected on the balance sheet, liability side of balance sheet. But in addition to that, we require set of records or systematic records under the total figure. What is the systematic record? Because the total figure of creditors or vendors who have supplied on credit, if we go through the detailed analysis, we will find that there are numerous numbers of, large numbers of individual vendors, and every vendor would be having several invoices, right? Like what happened, the business will be having a long term relationship with the vendors or suppliers. So in regular intervals, they supply the material, generate the invoice, and the invoice is submitted to the business for payment. So many invoices are passed under a particular vendor or vendor master. So there are so many entries, that means there are so many line items. Similarly, all the vendors, when there will be sum of, that is a summation of all the invoices, and the total figure is reflected on the reconciliation ledger or sundry creditors GL. Whenever we pay something to a vendor, individual vendor label, there is an impact, it will be nullified. In addition to that, on the total figure which is found place in the balance sheet, from there also the amount is deducted or adjusted or cleared. Okay, so that is an unbroken chain, there is an unbroken chain between individual vendors as well as sundry creditors. Individual vendors are called subledger or subsidiary ledger, and the general ledger is called reconciliation ledger. And in our case, we will create the general ledger account which is called sundry creditors account. Okay, so before that, let us go to the base level configurations or base level customizations. Few things I have done in the last class, so rest of the things one by one I will do. So I will click on SPRO. Okay. So now I will go to the financial accounting new. Then I will go to accounts receivables and accounts payable. Then I will go to the vendor account. Then I will go to the master data. Then preparations for creating vendor master data. And I will click on define account groups with screen layout vendor. Okay. So in the last class, let us see what we have created. We have created two numbers of vendor groups, right? One is FI vendor group, another is vendor group. Why I created two? There may be more than two. Some of the organizations, they can make the bifurcation of their vendors into different groups on the basis of the similarity. So what is the similarity? I have made two bifurcations, not more than two, because there are some vendor bills which are directly coming to the finance department without the involvement of any other department. So I can call them FI vendors, right? And there are some vendor bills which do not pass through the material management module or module. That comes through the module. There are some vendor bills which always first go to the material management department because materials is supplied. So the first task is to update the bin card and stores ledger, and it should be compared with the purchase order or PO. After that, the bill is forwarded to the finance department. So those types of vendor, I can call them vendor. So FI vendor, related to FI vendor, whatever demonstrations are required, it can be demonstrated in the FI module. But relating to the vendor means the vendor bills which are coming via material management department. So those vendor related bills, those can be the activities or business process or end user activity of those vendors can be demonstrated whenever the basic settings of the material management module is established. In this case, we are in the FI, so we are not sufficiently advanced our knowledge. So early I am unable to demonstrate the integration areas. So what is the integration area? Material management module integration with FI as well as CO. So for that purpose, I have to create the basic configurations of the material management. Once I do that, then only I can create vendor, individual vendor, and pass the entries, pass the invoices, make the payment, which is routed through the department. So now I have created this first one, FI vendor, right? So here also there are three things: field status. One is general data, another is company code data, another is purchasing data. So what is the use of field status here? See, under this group, I will create individual vendors. Okay, the name of individual vendors or the name of the supplier. So while creating, that means I will create subsidiary ledger under this account group. Whenever I will create subsidiary ledger, then what are the fields that should be there in the subsidiary ledger? So all the fields in my subsidiary ledger or in my vendor master can be divided into three parts. One is general data, another is company code data, another is purchasing data, right? So this is general data. General data, normally there is address, communication, control, payment transaction, contact person. If I click here, then I see everything is optional here. Nothing is suppressed, nothing is required, nothing is displayed or are optional. Okay, it's fine. So safely we can do. Here is also everything is optional. And in this case, I see everything is also optional, right? Similarly, payment transaction, everything is also optional. However, I have to click on the company code data and click on the account management, right? Here I make the reconciliation account required entry and cash management group suppress. Actually here we found there are four numbers of options. One is suppress, another is required, next one is optional, and another is display. Okay, suppress means that particular field is not available for creation of the master data. Required means this particular field, reconciliation account, is compulsorily required. Why? Whenever we will create any subsidiary ledger under this 720F group, definitely we should link it with the general ledger, right? Unless and until we will link it with the general ledger, how the GL balances of total sundry creditor balance will be updated? So any user, whenever it will create a vendor master or supplier master, definitely it has to link with in the master data the GL account of sundry creditor, right? Then there is a optional entry. Optional entry means you can do the entry, you may not do the entry, the system will not make any compulsion. But if you try to avoid the reconciliation account, the system will not spare you. Display means only showing the things, it will never change, but there is nothing here display. So this is the first group I have created. Then the second group is vendor group. These are also very similar, same thing. In the account management, I make reconciliation account required entry and cash management group suppress. Why I am making cash management group suppress? Because if these are activated, then while managing the payment or receiving cash or payment entries, sometimes some notifications or problems may arise because we have not activated the cash management system in SAP FI. So in SAP FI also we can activate the cash management section or cash management related customizations. So therefore intentionally we have kept it as suppress in both the cases. So I have created the account group, and in account group it is linked to the field status, and where this field status will be required while creating subsidiary ledger or individual vendor master or supplier master, right? Then I will go to the next area. The next area is create number ranges for vendor accounts. Click on this. Now click on this spectacle icon. In this spectacle icon, I see there are so many intervals has been created. Suppose I click on the insert interval. I also see so many number range intervals has been created. That means this interval is at the client level, right? So it is not at the company code level. Number range intervals has already been created at client level. So for our purpose, what we can do, I can create a fresh number range for my individual vendors or groups, but for creation, you have to be very sure that it should not be within the range. Within the range means it should not be within this range, because so many ranges has been created, we are unable to find out the gap. Yes, we can obviously find out the we can also find out the gap by looking at the situations, but just a minute, let's see. Okay, so it is very difficult to find the gap in S4 HANA. It is easy to find the gap, but here Gap, finding the gap, we have to observe the number. Okay, otherwise there will be some issues, notifications will come that overlapping is there. So best thing is I can use the number ranges. Okay, so the first number range, which is starting with 0 1, 1 2 9 triple 9, 5 times 9, NR status is showing 0 and it is showing external. Okay, so external is not required, somebody has created it external. So actually it should not be external, it should be automatic, number should come automatic. So we can prefer the second one. Second one is also having lots of range. So second one starts from 1 lakh to 1 lakh 99,999, but it has already been end in 437. Okay, no external checkbox. Similarly, the third one also I can use for vendor group. Fine. So I am not creating any number ranges. I will create 02 and 03 for my purpose. So just come back and click on the next one. Assign number ranges to vendor account group. Okay. So click on 720F. Right. So here I can use whatever number range is created. This one, this is the first one. Mind it, you should not select any number range where external checkbox is applicable. External checkbox means manually you have to give the number of that vendor which you are going to create. So that is not a systematic method. So we will use 02 and 03. I am linking 02 here, then I am linking 03 here, and I click on save. Right. So the number range has been decided and the number range has been linked with the respective vendor account group. Okay. So now we will go to the next area. So in the next area, we are in the master data previously. So now we will go to the business transactions, right? So in the business transaction, let us have incoming payments. Okay. So let us select the incoming payment global settings. Click on the overpayment and underpayment. Actually I am going to the tolerances. Let us see where is the tolerances. Tolerance is a compulsory area, so I have to search the tolerances, and once the tolerances is over, then we will just cross a milestone. Just a minute, let us see. Yes, so under the incoming payment there is a customization thing which is called tolerances. So what is the meaning of tolerances? Tolerance is something which we have already discussed in case of GL accounting. Okay, so the same thing will be there, and let us see which tolerances we are using. Today I will send the study materials for this accounts payable. Let's see, because there are many tolerances. I will create the only the very necessary things which are required. Okay, manual outgoing payment and define tolerances within bracket vendor, right? So manual manual incoming payment, actually it is showing manual outgoing payment, receivable and payables. Okay, I am coming to the receivables and payables. Business transaction, then business transaction, I can have outgoing payment, then manual outgoing payment. Okay, we should be on outgoing payment because we are in the vendor. So straightforward, we will click on define tolerances vendor. Okay, click on the new entries button. Here the company code is 7200, and I will create a blank tolerance group because really tolerances or check and balance mechanism or your financial hierarchy discipline, these are not at all required for myself. So therefore I am making a blank tolerances group, tolerances for 7200. Click on save, save in your request. Okay, so I have created the tolerances. Then the next task is I will create the GL account. Two numbers of GL account I am going to create. FS00 first. So before creation of the GL account, the first thing is I will check the group, account group. OBD4 is the transaction code for account group and 7200 is the chart of account, right? So first GL account I am going to create, that is my current liability. Okay, so let us see where is my current liability. This is my current liability. So current liability, why current liability? Because I am going to create sundry creditors account, which is a GL account, which is a reconciliation account, and there it has to be created as current liability. Let us see what are the GL accounts created so far under 7200. Let us see how many GL accounts created. Okay, so these are the GL accounts already created, right? So now I will create another GL account under the account group 100, 200 to 100 to 99. Let us see. 100, 200, one liability is there, 201, 202. Then I can have 100 to 10. Let us see. 100 to 10. 100 to 10. I am making the round figure. So I can have copy it from 100 to 100. Sorry, company code is 7200. Okay, so it is current liability. Now it is copied from rent payable. I can put it sundry creditors. Okay, and here also now click on the control data tab. The most important thing in the control data tab is you have to select reconciliation account type. This is the only difference between non-reconciliation GL and reconciliation GL. So what is the meaning of non-reconciliation GL and reconciliation GL? Reconciliation GL general ledger are those general ledger under which we always create so many subledgers. Okay, and individual subledgers are connected to that reconciliation ledger. So sundry creditor is a reconciliation ledger, and here in the master data I have to make understand to the system. I have to decide in the system, SAP system, which types of reconciliation account type this is. Sundry creditors are what type of reconciliation account? Reconciliation account is applicable to vendors, customer, asset and contract account receivables, right? So I will select here vendor. This is very important. In the certification questions also it will be asked where does the reconciliation account type is selected. Type description, control data, create oblique bank oblique interest tab. So it is in the control data. Don't select open item management here. Okay, only line item display. Why? Because the open item management relating to the vendor, individual vendor, has to be done under subledger level, not at general ledger level, because general ledger level only shows the consolidated items. So individual bill wise open items, cleared items, all items, that is not possible at sundry creditor level. That will be at the subsidiary GL level. So don't select open item management here, right? Other things are very much same. Click on save, right? Then the The next GL account I will create, that is my inventory raw materials, within bracket FI. Suppose inventory raw materials, it will be created under the current asset. Suppose my module is not implemented, that kind of scenario I am showing to you. But therefore inventory raw material GL I will create, but within bracket I will write it FI. That means the bill is directly coming to the FI, as if module is not implemented. Another GL also I will create, inventory raw material within bracket when I will do the integration between material management module and FI module. In those cases the bills will come via material management. So I will create under 2 lakhs to 2 lakhs 99. So let us see how many GLs are created under 2 lakhs to 2 lakh 99. Okay. One is created 2 lakh, another is 2 lakh 1, and last one is 2 lakh 99. So let us create 2 lakh 10. So I am giving 2 lakh 10. And I click on the with template. Okay. So everything is copied from 2 lakhs current asset. Now I will give the GL inventory raw materials. I'm just again inventory raw material within bracket FI, because integration has not been started, everything will come directly. Here long text inventory raw materials within bracket FI, right? So then I click on the control data tab. Everything seems to be fine. Everything seems to be fine relating to the inventory raw material. Click on save. Don't care for the warning message. Click on save, right? So I have created 2 numbers of GL accounts, as well as I have created one reconciliation ledger account, and I have created the inventory raw material account, right? Then I will create the vendor master. Okay, vendor master I will create, individual vendor. So for creation of the vendor master, I will go to the accounting, then I will go to the financial accounting, then I will go to the accounts payable, then I will go to the master record, then I will create the individual vendor master. The transaction code for create is FK01, change is FK02, and display is FK03. So I am going to create a individual vendor. So click on FK01, right? So now I don't have to give any vendor, because this is the first time I am creating the vendor. So the most important thing is company code must be correct, 7200, and whenever we will create any vendor, it has to be kept under the group. I have created 2 numbers of groups. So I am selecting 720F. Click on enter, right? So I am giving the vendor name. The vendor name is, say, Trident Industries Limited. Some areas I am creating a vendor master. Some areas are compulsory. You cannot escape. Street number, postal code, city. Suppose city, I am saying the city as New Delhi. Okay. Postal code, say 100000. Suppose street number, these are not at all compulsory, but you can fill up. Country, IN, this is a compulsory field, tick mark was there. Then click on the next screen. Nothing is required. So many informations are asking. We don't have to use this information now. In future we will use some more informations by editing the vendor, or we will create a new vendor. Then I will click on the next entry. This is a vendor master. Every vendor having a bank information. their bank account details. So for their bank account details, this information can be updated in this place. I don't have to do anything. Click on the next entry. Contact person. Every company or every supplier, they will be having a suitable person who will be contacted for any issues. So this is the place for those. I don't have to do anything. Click on the next entry, right? So in the next entry, see, this is a tick mark. That means reconciliation account is compulsory. Why reconciliation account is compulsory? Because Trident India Limited, it is a subsidiary ledger or subledger what I am creating. But this subledger has to be connected with the reconciliation ledger, or it has to be connected with the general ledger. How it will be connected? The only way it is connected in the system is to put the appropriate GL account here. What is the appropriate GL account? That is sundry creditors GL, what I have created now. And in the field status, while creating the account group and screen layout rule, I have made it required entry or compulsory. So that's why the reconciliation account is asking the information. Without that, nobody can escape. And this is very much essential to link with the reconciliation ledger. So I click on the drop down. This is the only reconciliation ledger I have created, sundry creditors. Then sort key, I can use the sort key. What is the meaning of sort key? How the transaction will be sorted, right? So it can be as per the vendor number. Previously sorting key was posting date 001, but here in case of subledger accounting, I can select it vendor number, right? So this much things are required, and click on save. Okay, so once I save, then my vendor number is automatically created 100,438. Then the next task is to create number range. What is the number range? Previously I have created a number range, but that number range was used. Actually I do not create any number range, it was already there, but I used it for my account group, for FI vendor as well as the MM vendor group. Now the number range what I am going to create, it is for the document type and number range. What is the usage of document type and number range? As you know, in SAP financials, accounting entry shall be passed. After the basic customization, end users will pass the accounting entry. We will pass the accounting entry, test the system, test the customization, and do the demonstration. So therefore, I have to create number range for my document types or voucher types, which is called voucher types in Tally. In SAP, we have come across with very few numbers of document types. In GL accounting, general ledger accounting, we have come across with the document type SA as well as the document type AB. AB is the reversal document of the document type SA. So SA has a different number range, AB has also a different number range. But now we are in the chapter of accounts payable. So in the accounts payable, some more numbers of unique document will be there. So for that purpose also, we have to declare the number range. Otherwise, whenever we will pass the transaction, what will be the number of saving of that particular entry? So therefore, OBA7 document type and number range we will prefer. So here there are three document types which will be used. One is KR, another is KZ, another is KA. So this is the three new document types we are coming across. So what is KR? KR means vendor invoice. Any invoice, purchase invoice, when it will be passed, it will be saved under the document type KR. but whatever payment we will release to the vendor, that will not be under KR. SAP is proposing to save it in another document type, which is KZ. And what is KA? Suppose there is a reversal, or there is a situation when we return the materials. So in those cases, there is another document type called KA, right? So now I will first create the document type and number range KR. Click on KR. Here it is written as 19, right? So this is the reverse document type KA. So okay, it's all right. Click on the number range information 7200. Click on change intervals. So here we will create the number range for my document type. So there it is written as 19 na. Yes, it is written as 19. So I will create it under 19 2022 year dependent. So the last one is 6000. So 60012 7000. Save. Then click on continue. Okay, so I have created the number range for my document type KR. So after creation of the document type KR, let us go for and create the document type number range for vendor payment or KZ. So it is written as 15. Click on the number range information 7200. Click on insert interval. See, 15 is already created. Already 15, under 15, 3001 to 4000 created. No entry has been passed. So I don't have to create again. Then again come back. The last document type, that is KA. So let us see it. Click on K. It is written as 17 here. Let us see. 7200. Insert interval. No, it is not there. So I put 17 2022 and I am starting from 7001 to 8000. Okay, all the reversals and everything will be here itself. Just continue. So I have created number ranges for different document type KR, KZ, KA. So now I will attempt to pass one journal entry. So let us click on accounts payable, right? And I will go to the document entry and FB60. For GL accounting, the very frequent used transaction code was FB50. In accounts payable, it will be FB60. And in accounts receivable, it will be FB70. So click on FB60, right? So I have to be very sure that I am going to pass the entries in my company code. See, my company code is not selected. So click on switch company code. Here 7200 and enter, right? So this is a completely new screen than the screen which we used in general ledger accounting. In general ledger accounting, this particular below area, actually in this particular screen, there is a header data and there is a transaction data. And the header data in this accounts payable, it is very complicated than your FB50, because here so many informations are there. Basic data, payment, detail, tax, notes, lots of things are there. And also in the top, there are also different options. Invoice, credit memo. So whenever we are returning, then we will select credit memo. Invoice means simple purchase invoice, right? So first of all, I have to select, change the company code. Then I have to assign the vendor. I have to decide on which is the vendor to whom purchase invoice shall be posted. So this is the vendor, Trident Limited, right? So I am putting the invoice date, 6th December 2022. Now put the GL account. Suppose we are purchasing something from a vendor, purchasing raw materials from the vendor, the entry will be inventory raw materials account debited to vendor account. So say inventory raw material is debited, amount say 5 lakhs, narration inventory raw material purchased. Okay, so now 5 lakhs raw material is purchased, then I will give the amount here 5 lakhs. Enter. Okay, so it is writing that posting period 009 2022 is not open. Actually I had already opened the posting period. Let us see whether it is manipulated by someone or not. Okay, let us go to /n OB52. Previously I had opened it actually. So variant 7200. Okay, it is opened from 1 to 8. So December is the 9th period, right? So it is not allowing. So what I have to do? Open in toto. There is no issues up to 31st March. Okay, I make it open. Once I make it open, then this error will not be shown. Posting period 009 is not open, it will not be shown. Now it is asking text is required field for, so it is asking for a text. So I am putting it purchase invoice posting, right? Text or narration is compulsory. So now the balance becomes 0, that means debit is equal to credit. Then click on the document simulate and click on post. Okay, once I click on post, let us see the document FB03. So this is the document number. Click on enter. So while I click on enter, what I see, there are two line items. This is a line item and this is also a line item, right? So whenever this is a line item, the first line item 10438, is it a general ledger? 10438, is it a general ledger? No, it is not a general ledger. So what is the 10438? It is the Trident India Limited subledger number, that is 31, that means liability. Posting key 40 is the debit, 200,010. Is it a subsidiary ledger or general ledger? This is a general ledger. The name is inventory raw material within bracket F5. So this transaction is showing the entry view. If I click on the general ledger view, then it will show me both the line items in the form of general ledger, right? So this is inventory raw material 210, that is debited, and 10210 sundry creditors account, that is credited, right? So there are two numbers of GL accounts here, but previous view there was one GL, another is subsidiary GL, right? So this is the difference. That means what does it show? It shows that in addition to the updation of the data at the sundry creditor level, also a systematic record is maintained at the bill by bill basis under Trident India Limited. Okay, bill by bill basis means invoice by invoice basis. So this is the first invoice. So the first invoice belongs to Trident Limited, is separately saved in addition to sundry creditor value, which is populated under the sundry creditor, right? So after passing this document invoice and display of the document, I can see the document FB03, okay, or I can see the accounts. So how to see the accounts? For display of the vendor account, I have to click on display balances. So automatically the vendor number is coming because I am working in that vendor. Or if it will not come, you have to click on the drop down and search. So we have only one vendor, so automatically coming here. Company code is by default 7200, fiscal year 2022, right? So click on execute. So once I click on execute, what happens? The ledger is showing, this is the ledger balance of Trident India Limited, right? Individual ledger balance. So actually this is a subsidiary ledger balance. This is not the general ledger balance. This is the subsidiary ledger balance. So in the subsidiary ledger balance, the period 9th, there is a credit of 5 lakhs and no transaction is there. So balance is also 5 lakhs. Cumulative balance is also 5 lakhs, right? So this is the subsidiary ledger related activities. Suppose we want to see all the line items. I can just double click here and I can see the line items here, and it is showing in red. Red means it is open. So this bill or this invoice 6001 document number is now open. So I can go to the line item for this place from this place, or I can go through FBL1N. Okay, FBL1N is the transaction to see the bill by bill details. That is, which item is open, which item is cleared, and what are the total items. The vendor number is automatically coming. You can also put the vendor number manually, and the radio button is at open item. You can select all items and click on execute. Okay, so now only one bill pertains to the Trident India Limited New Delhi is outstanding. Okay, that means we have not paid the outstanding. We have not paid the liability for that bill, Trident India Limited, and document number 6001. Okay, so now we can display the balances, we can display the line items. Now suppose I want to make the payment. So when I want to make the payment, how to release the payment and make the open item in converted into cleared item. So I will go to the document entry, I will go to the outgoing payment, and I will use F-53. So in the F-53, I am putting the posting date, today's date. The document type is by default coming KZ. Then select the bank data. We are paying it from the bank. So there is a GL account, bank account. So select this one. Now amount is 5 lakhs. I am putting the full clearing scenario. Text I am making paid, and I am selecting the open item account. So Trident India Limited. Then click on the process open item, right? So here amount entered is 5 lakhs, amount assigned is 5 lakhs. So this is a perfect case for clearing. Then I will go to the document, simulate general ledger. Okay, so this seems to be fine. Then click on post. Okay, so the document is posted now. Then I can have FB03. 3001 is the document number. Okay, see this document number here, Trident Limited. One thing I have forgotten, in accounts payable some more numbers of posting key are there, which you have to remember. Not remember, it will be, once you will make the practice, it will be automatically remembered. There are two new posting keys. One is posting key 25, another is posting key 31. In accounts payable chapter, the posting key 25 is debit and posting key 31 is credit. As the money is paid to the Trident Limited, so 25 is debited to the vendor. 25 means debit to the vendor. As money goes out from the bank, so against the bank account it is written as posting key 50. Why it is 50? Why not it is 31? Because bank account is a GL account. But this is not a GL account. This is a subsidiary GL account. So therefore, for subsidiary GL account, 25 and 31 will be used. Right? So bank account posting key 50, bank is a GL account. If we click on the general ledger view, then I also see this, that is sundry creditors account debited to bank, right? So this is the way in which you can, okay, I have already cleared the vendor. After clearing the vendor, let us see the line items. So for display of the line items, I can have, say, account, this one, FBL1N. So once I click on the FBL1N, let us select all items and click on execute. What we see? We see KR and KZ, these documents are side by side. KR is the vendor invoice, 5 lakhs minus, and KZ is the vendor payment, 5 lakhs plus. So now the document is cleared and the status becomes green. And what is the clearing document number? The clearing document number means the payment document number. Here the payment document number is 3001. So this 3001 is written against 3001 against 6001 also. So from this the user can very well know that which documents are cleared against which document, right? So is there any question, is there any doubt regarding the accounts payable? Up to this point I have demonstrated. Any questions, any doubts, please ask me.
Sir, can we use F-51 for payment?
See, suppose you are using F-51 for the payment, right? So in case of F-51, it can be also very well used for the payment, but here there are different this can be used as a universal GL account for universal payment transaction code. Here let us try a payment. Okay, first of all I have to change the document type here, but there F-53 the document type was exactly KZ. I don't have to change here. And here there are different options: outgoing payment, incoming payment, credit memo, transfer posting. Lots of options are there, but in that screen it was monotonous. Monotonous means that was specifically prepared for the purpose of using it in the document type KZ as well as using it for the payment only. But here both outgoing and incoming payments are possible. So I am selecting the outgoing payment. Okay, so I have to select the outgoing payment first. Then after outgoing payment I have to select the line items. Okay, suppose I click on the choose process open item. From there also, if I select the account directly, the open item managed accounts, so this is the Trident Limited. Okay, there also I can click on the process, but there is no open item still now, so that's why it is showing like this. So in this screen also the payment is very well possible, because payment or clearing, that can be possible from different screens, and the screen which presently I am using, that can be used for outgoing payment, for incoming payment, for credit memo. Credit memo means the return of the goods or services. Transfer posting. What is the meaning of transfer posting? I have make you understand very well in the GL account chapter. Clearing means not only payment clearing, adjustment clearing is also there. So in those cases we can use the transfer posting with clearing, right? That means there is a liability receivable, there is a payable for that particular vendor. Then both things can be, suppose there is an advance from that particular vendor and material is also supplied. So simply this can be adjusted. So those things can be, I will also demonstrate all those things regarding transfer posting, credit memo and outgoing payment. outgoing payment I have demonstrated. This is also possible in this screen. So 53 and 51, these both are possible. Any other things? This is also F-44 is also another screen for only the clearing through adjustment, not payment with clearing. So anything regarding? I was selecting this one, F-53. So F-51, F-53, these are the F-51 is very much universal. Let us see. This was used in accounts payable, accounts receivable. So incoming payment F-28, this is here. So okay, fine. So that entry was very much typical, where all the payment received, credit memo, transfer posting, all are possible. But here this is specifically meant for the accounts payable only, that is outgoing payment, here post. So this is the thing which happens. So let us close the session as of now for today. In the next session I will discuss some more areas of accounts payable, those clearing kinds of things, adjustment clearing, credit memo, those things will be discussed in the next class. So good night to all of you, and let us close the session for now.